We detected a strange signal coming from a nearby asteroid field near Ceres. We've passed down this sector of our patrol battlesphere before. There were nothing but dead rocks and empty husks. We moved to investigate and found a mysterious and seemingly abandoned husk, seemingly of the degenerate and evil Drukhari kind. We boarded it, ready for anything. These wretches live for schemes and traps, hidden in shadows. But we can go into the shadows too, as this is our undertaking foretold to us by the chapter master, by the way of the Kylix. As our phratry made its way through the landing bay, we found it to be eerily quiet. It could be a derelict husk, like the many others around the asteroid field. There were no signs of life on the auspex, but we could sense that something was off. Suddenly we heard a noise coming from the cargo hold. We rushed to investigate and found a group of signals far down in the boundary zone of this corrupted vessel. We moved up to engage the enemy, our bolters ready. "For Ithaka!" our sergeant yells. "For Ithaka!" we scream. Suddenly shots begin to rain on us, but no matter, we fire holy bolters and death rains on these wretches. "Face me, bastards! Phalanx formation!" Brother Alexios screams, and we lock in our boarding shields. At the front, we move and fire, unstoppable. The enemy fire strangely missing us, but we were too strong for them, and they bounced off our plates and shields, the ones who landed. "Contact front, keep firing, pick targets, fire and move, let's go, watch for traps." We pushed them back, step by step, until they were cornered. That's when we saw it. The Drukhari had brought a massive war machine with them, a behemoth that looked like it was made of iron. It was armed with all sorts of weapons, and it was heading straight for us. We knew we had to take it down, but we also knew it wouldn't be a simple task. We were not brought into this galaxy for the simple. I remember my scout sergeant's voice in my head. The war machine, that degenerate abomination, was heavily armored, and its weapons were surely deadly, but they hadn't met us yet. But we were the Iron Snakes, and we never backed down from a challenge. We charged at the war machine, our chainswords whirring. The Drukhari fired their guns at us, but we dodged their shots with ease. We climbed up the war machine, cutting through its armor with our chainswords. The Drukhari tried to stop us, but we were too fast for them. We reached the top of the war machine and planted explosives in it. Then we jumped off, just as the war machine exploded in a shower of fire and smoke. The Drukhari, degenerated cursed scum, were defeated and utterly crushed, as they should, and the ship was ours. We searched the ship and found a valuable artifact that could help us in our fight against the Drukhari. The very nature of this thing became secret, and its report was classified in our combat report. But as we were about to leave, we heard a strange voice calling out to us. It was a voice we had never heard before, but somehow it sounded familiar. We followed the voice to the bridge of the ship, where we found a beautiful sight. There appeared to be a woman waiting for us. She was dressed in a flowing white gown, and her hair was as black as the void. She introduced herself as Eurydice, and she claimed to be a messenger of the gods. Eurydice told us that the artifact we had found was a powerful weapon that could turn the tide of the war against the Drukhari. But she warned us that the weapon was cursed, and that it would bring great danger to anyone who wielded it. We were skeptical at first, but Eurydice convinced us to take the weapon with us. She said that we were the only ones who could use it to defeat the Drukhari, and that the fate of the galaxy depended on us, as the great evil needed to be cut out forever. We left the cursed ship, still unsure of what had just happened. But we knew one thing for sure. We had a new weapon, and we were ready to use it against the Drukhari. We returned to our fortress monastery on Ithaka's moon, Charybdis, with our heads held high and with great stories to tell. Welcome back, my friends. I hope you have enjoyed my short story, as today we dive deep into the lore of the Iron Snakes chapter, a brotherhood forged in the depths of Ithaka's oceans. Dive into the universe of Warhammer 40K and explore the unique history and traditions of the Iron Snakes chapter. From their frozen homeworld of Ithaka to the treacherous Reef stars, discover what makes these space marines so special. Join the Iron Snakes on their quest for justice and revenge against the traitorous degenerates who threaten the safety of the Imperium. From the sea lances of Ithaka to the battlefields of the Sabbat World's crusade, witness the glory and valor of these legendary warriors. First, we need to go to their planet of origin. The Iron Snakes hail from the frozen ocean world of Ithaka, located in the Reef stars sector of the Segmentum Obscurus. The planet is largely covered in very deep oceans and is home to a variety of sea life, including the great serpentine water worms. The people of Ithaka are known for their seafaring skills and their unique culture, which is steeped in superstition and tradition. The planet is located in the Reef star sector of the segmentum obscurus. Now we need to know how the recruitment process is and what it takes to become the most powerful warrior in the Imperium. From Ithaka, the Iron Snakes recruit their neophytes from Ithaka, their homeworld. The recruitment process is not well documented, but it is known that the chapter's aspirants must undergo a series of grueling trials and tests of endurance before they are accepted into training. The Iron Snakes recruit their neophytes from Ithaka, an imperial ocean world, commonly referred to by its people as the Cradle of Snakes, that is largely covered in very deep oceans and home to a variety of sea life, including the great serpentine water worms. Ithaka does possess significant landmass, including tropical islands and viciously cold polar regions. The Iron Snakes are therefore able to train in a number of environments, although the sea is most precious to them. Ithaka's oceans are home to a variety of sea life, including the indigenous giant water worms. A craritia, or mature male bull water worm, is known to grow up to 300 meters in length. The chapter uses these worms in hunting exercises for its initiates and in the ritual punishment of Othanar. The water worms are known to cause retiarian, which are huge storms and ferocious squalls that seem to follow the movement of the marine serpents. A retiarian eventually causes tsunami, the folding walls of iron, giant tsunamis that rise out of the deep waters and come crashing into the settled islands while standing kilometers high. The Iron Snake's actual fortress monastery, which they refer to as the Chapter House, is located on Ithaka's fortress moon, Charybdis, and features a great bell as large as a space marine drop pod. The Chapter House is a mighty bastion with sloped turrets lined with Earthshaker cannons, massive curtain walls, and hardpoint blisters of Hydra batteries. The Chapter House contains armories, forges, training halls, a chapel, and an apothecarian. It also contains a main bath pool known as the Hall of the Balneri. The Balneri is 50 meters square and filled with sacred seawater imported from Ithaka. The Tholos lies beneath the Chapter House, anchored deep in the rocky crust of Charybdis. This is a stockade for Astartes of the Iron Snakes that is seldom used due to the meticulous discipline of the chapter. Its most common residents are prisoners of war, held pending interrogation under the watchful eyes of the veteran Astartes, who serve as the wardens known as Archons. They were created during the second founding of the Ultramarines, though it is not Codex Astartes compliant and maintains a unique chapter organization. The Iron Snakes take their name from the giant sea serpents called water worms that inhabit their frozen homeworld of Ithaka's vast oceans. One of the chapter's most important rites of passage is to hunt and kill one of these leviathans using a type of weapon called a sea lance. The Iron Snakes are a somewhat superstitious brotherhood whose squads are named after the founding leaders of the chapter. Every squad in the chapter is known by the name of its first commanding sergeant, and careful attention is paid to recording the deeds of each squad and the glory it has accumulated. The Iron Snakes were created during the second founding using the gene seed of the Primarch Rabaut Guilliman. The chapter's primary task is to guard a cluster of imperial star systems known as the Reef stars, close to their homeworld of Ithaka, which are frequently plagued by the Drukhari and less often by orcs. The Iron Snakes are a perfectly disciplined chapter, however they depart substantially from the Codex Astartes. The inhabitants of Ithaka revere the water from its oceans, and when Iron Snake's battle brothers are called to a far-off war, they carry out a final ritual before departing, called the Rite of the Claiming of Water. Every chapter battle brother carries this life water in a copper flask as part of a ceremonial ritual known as the Rite of the Giving of Water, which anoints every planet they visit. The leftover water in these vials is returned to the Ithaka oceans in a rite called the Rite of Returning, when these battle brothers return to their homeworld. In ceremonial copper urns known as Eusippus, the cremated remains of Iron Snake Astartes who have lost their lives in combat are also returned. This final sacred task is typically carried out by the battle brother, who is the most senior in the deceased group. The lids of each Eusippus are turned one by one, revealing the grey ash beneath as the lament of Dissa is chanted. The bones of the fallen are swept away by the wind and returned to the sea, much like water. The leader of the fallen Astartes squad brings prepared remarks on the life, deeds and death of the brave dead on a scroll of parchment, sealed and ready to be stored in the Chapter House archives. These scrolls frequently also include complete orders of merit that list all of the honors and decorations an Iron Snake Space Marine has received, along with all of the specifics and circumstances of his service in the chapter. Another ritual punishment that the Iron Snakes frequently employ against Astartes who have committed heinous crimes is called Wethenar, or trial by worm, in the sector's High Gothic tongue. The worst thing that can happen to an Ithakan is this: the accused is left on a stilt rock by themselves, defenseless, and must confront the worms as they are called. The accused individual is presumed guilty of the allegations against him if, after 6 hours, he is still alive. Ithaka's residents think the waterworms won't contaminate themselves by coming into contact with a guilty guy. The accused is one of Ithaka's chosen children, and funeral songs and grieving rituals will forever celebrate his innocence if they take him. The chapter master of the Iron Snakes declares the number of squads he thinks are necessary to complete a mission, known as an undertaking in the chapter. Squad leaders who want to provide their units for the assignment then insert their tokens into a kylix, which is a type of drinking cup with ancient Greek origins on Terra. Based on the tokens he discovers in the kylix, the chapter master then selects which squads to allocate to the project. Even though the squad serves as the chapter's primary tactical unit, even fewer battle brothers are used on occasion. When the worlds of the Reef stars call for general assistance, it is usual to send one battle brother from the nearest squad to investigate. One-man operations are viewed as a suitable challenge for Space Marines, who are either the newest members of the squad or a member the squad leader is considering for the post of successor. Traditionally, one warrior is sufficient for most general aid requests, but if one is aware of a particular circumstance, it is acceptable for the individual to ask for the assistance of his Pharaoh brothers. Unlike other chapters that adhere to Codex Astartes, the Iron Snake's tactical squads are distinct in that each squad comprises an apothecary, as opposed to other chapters that allocate only one apothecary per company. The Iron Snakes focus on conventional infantry tactics in battle because of the importance of the combat squad, even if they can deploy a respectable number of vehicles and include librarians and dreadnoughts in their forces. All battle brothers can use phalanx, shield wall tactics and close quarters when equipped with combat shields, war blades, short power swords, and sea lances, javelin-type fighting spears, also known as Astartes power spears, from the chapter's armor. They are especially adept with the sea lances, since training on their homeworld of Ithaka includes tracking down and killing the big, vicious waterworms that inhabit that wild planet. Before combat, each Iron Snake is given 2 sea lances, which are to be utilized and discarded. Frechtry battle brothers are then given new lances prior to the following encounter. With the exception of their white-painted left polin, knee guard, and armorial insets, the Iron Snake's chapter's power armor is mostly silver. The paintwork on the shoulder pauldron trim is red. On the plastron, or chest guard, is worn a golden aquila, or imperialis. On the right armorial, a blue squad specialty insignia, Devastator, Destroyer, Assault, Tactical, Veteran or Command, marks the squad specialty assigned to a chapterary. The squad specialty emblem for a chapter is marked with a white, high Gothic number that denotes their assigned Frechtry squad. The chapter's assigned chapter is indicated by a bigger blue colour and a high Gothic numeral stencilled upon the left polin, knee guard. For Ithaka, as the Iron Snakes return to their fortress monastery on Charybdis, they leave behind a trail of vanquished foes and glorious victories. But their work is never done, and they will continue to fight for the safety and security of the Imperium. Remember their battle cry, for Ithaka, and join them in their quest for glory. As the Iron Snakes prepare for their next mission, they reflect on the bonds of brotherhood that unite them. Through the trials and tribulations of war, they have become more than just warriors. They are a family, and they will always be ready to defend the Imperium against all who threaten it. Thank you for watching this video about the Iron Snakes chapter from Warhammer 40K. I hope you enjoyed learning about the history and traditions of this unique Space Marine chapter. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all my latest videos. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, this is TerranBrah signing off. Until we meet again, keep the light of the Emperor burning, my friends.